I've been reincarnated as the overbearing CEO protagonist, the one who gets drugged. I stared coldly at the heroine standing in the doorway, her face alight with expectation. You're fired. The moment I went off script, the live chat commentary exploded. I opened my eyes and found myself on a hotel bed. I've been drugged. Mr. Pierce, are you all right? Can I get you a glass of water? I squinted. A young woman in a full face of makeup stood at the entrance to the presidential suite. She held a key card in her hand, her expression practically screaming, "Drag me in here right now." I've been dropped into a novel. I was the cliché corporate titan protagonist of a secret baby romance. The plot was simple. A wild night with a heroine. She gets pregnant and runs. And I spend the rest of the book chasing her down. Ashton, you're so flushed. Are you feeling unwell? The heroine, Chloe Martin, walked right in, closing the door behind her with a soft click. I fought back the heat coiling in my gut and stared at her, my voice low and raspy from the drug's effect. Stay right there. The hell with the plot? We said you could come in. Chloe froze, clearly not expecting me to be this coherent. She bit her lower lip, her eyes instantly welling up. The door was open. You're fired now. Get out. Her face went stiff, but Mr. Pierce. I reached for the phone on the nightstand. I'm calling security. Chloe scrambled out of the room. The moment the door shut, I let out a long breath. The drug was still raging through my system. But I'd rather take a dozen ice-cold showers than touch that manipulative woman. I'm not some desperate idiot, and I refuse to star in this train wreck. After 30 minutes under a freezing spray, my head finally started to clear. That's when the text started scrolling across my vision like a translucent chat feed from a video game stream. WTF? Why isn't the main character following the script? I blinked and another line appeared. The girl literally served herself up on a platter and he said no. Is this CEO broken? Elmo, how dare he fire our sweet Chloe? Was this my cheat code for being reincarnated? OMG, the plot is totally derailed. What about the secret baby storyline now? Damn, he's so cold. I kind of dig it. Waiting for the scene where he eats his words. I couldn't help but mutter to the empty room. Secret baby my ass. I'm getting a vasectomy. The chat feed went berserk. He can see us. What kind of plot twist is this? Also a vasectomy. That's one way to do it. I decided to test it. Do you guys know what happens next? The feed scrolled even faster. He knows he's a character in a book. The protagonist is self-aware. Your cousin Caleb is the mastermind behind this. Chloe Martin was his pawn. You're supposed to fall madly in love with her. I let out a cold laugh. From now on, this story has a new title. Forget the CEO's runaway bride. This is called The Tycoon's Ascent. Amid a stream of laughing emojis, I grabbed my phone and dialed my assistant. Pull the hotel security footage immediately. I want to know who entered my room and run a full background check on every employee at the company. Start with Chloe Martin, who was on shift today. After hanging up, I started piecing things together. The next morning, I walked into Pierce Tower with dark circles under my eyes. I'd spent until 3 a.m. studying the source material, and I discovered this so-called tycoon protagonist had a truly miserable life. He was drugged, deceived, and emotionally manipulated from start to finish. Here we go. The classic CEO entrance. That suit, that physique. I'm drooling. He's about to meet the other woman, the rich fiancée. I rolled my eyes. Not interested in romance. I'm here to build an empire. Thanks. Ruthless. I love it. The elevator doors opened and a beautiful woman in a designer power suit was standing right outside my office. Victoria Sterling comes from old money with an Ivy League education. In the original story, he totally snubs her. Pick her. Pick her. She's a million times better than the heroine. I walked straight past Victoria and spoke to my assistant, Leo. Get me last quarter's financial reports. I also want a full breakdown of our current investment portfolio and tell the department heads we're having a meeting at 10 o'clock. Victoria stood there flustered. Ashton, I need to talk to you. Do you have an appointment? I'm your fiancé. I turned to face her. The engagement is off. That makes you my ex-fiancé. The color drained from her face. Dead cold. I am living for this rewrite. I walked into my office and said to Leo, from now on, nobody gets in without an appointment. That includes Miss Sterling. At the 10 o'clock meeting, I scanned the financial reports. My brow furrowed deeper with every page. The portfolio was all legacy industries, shipping, retail, manufacturing. The tech sector was practically non-existent. Kill the investment in mid-Atlantic shipping, I announced to the room, and divest our shares in the department store chains. The executives exchanged uneasy glances. Mr. Pierce, the shipyard has been our partner for 30 years. 30 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. I cut them off. It's adapt or die. Your choice. A transmigrated protagonist just hits different. He's right. Sticking to legacy industries would have gotten them crushed by tech giants in the long run. Now that's a CEO visionary. After the meeting, a young man walked into my office. Here comes the cousin, Caleb Pierce. He's the one who drugged him. Ashton, punch him in the face. Caleb, I had to admit, was handsome and well-dressed. He started with a look of deep concern. Ash, I heard you weren't feeling well last night. Just wanted to check on you. I leaned back in my leather chair, a smirk playing on my lips. Yeah, I was feeling pretty awful. Someone drugged me. Caleb's expression froze. But don't worry, I said casually. I've already asked the hotel to pull the security tapes. We'll find out who is stupid enough to mess with me soon enough. And when I do, I paused for effect. I'll make them wish they were never born. Beads of sweat formed on Caleb's forehead. Ha, scare him to death. Caleb, the drugs were my idea. My hands acted on their own. The protagonist power level is off the charts. Well, I'm just glad you're okay, Ash. Caleb forced a smile, trying to change the subject. By the way, Grandfather said he wants to discuss your engagement to Victoria at the family dinner next week. Nothing to discuss. I interrupted. I'm not getting married. But the family needs an heir. I scoffed. You mean you need me distracted by personal drama so you can make your move? Caleb's face turned white. Ash, how can you say that? Get out and from now on, don't set foot on the executive floor without my express permission. Savage. The original protagonist was such a pushover. This is so much better. Caleb's face is priceless right now. Elmo. After security escorted a pale-faced Caleb out, my assistant, Leo Martinez, came in. Mr. Pierce, we got the hotel security footage. Someone did enter your room last night. It was Mr. Caleb Pierce's assistant. I nodded. Sue him. And while you're at it, find out everything you can about the connection between Caleb and Chloe Martin. Leo hesitated. There's one more thing. Your grandfather called. He said, if you call off the engagement with the Sterlings, he'll freeze your trust fund. My grandfather was an old-school patriarch who used money to control his family. Tell him to go ahead. I opened my laptop and started researching tech companies. Also let him know I won't be at the family dinner next week. He's calling his bluff. Bold move. In the original, the protagonist was totally controlled by his family. This is way more satisfying. After a stunned Leo left, I got a call from the founder of a tech startup. It was a small AI-driven medical diagnostics company that in the original story saw its valuation multiply 100-fold. Pierce Corp missed the boat. Dr. Evans, I'm very interested in your project, I said into the phone. I'm prepared to make a personal investment of $20 million for a 10% stake. A personal investment, not through the corporation. Smart. That way he's insulated even if the family freezes his corporate assets. This guy is building his own damn empire from the ground up. After the call, I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window looking out over the city. If I'm going to be a corporate titan, I'm going to be a real one. Building an empire is a hell of a lot more interesting than chasing after some runaway girl with a secret. Let her run. The next week was a blur of pure work. Days were spent restructuring the company. Nights were for researching investments. This guy is such a workaholic. The heroine is going to be permanently unemployed. There's nothing sexier than a man focused on his bottom line. Chloe Martin is crying in a corner somewhere. Chloe did in fact try to do some crying. After being fired, she immediately posted a long, tear-jerking story on social media titled, Corporate Titan Casually Destroys a Young Woman's Life. She was hoping for a public outcry, but I'd already had the legal department on standby. Within 2 hours of her post going viral, the official Pierce Corp Twitter account released a statement. It included the security footage of her entering my room uninvited and the bank records showing payments from Caleb's assistant. The hashtag Hodloni was trending worldwide and she was canceled. Where's that plot armor when you need it? The protagonist has anticipated your every move. Caleb wasn't sitting idle either since I skipped the family dinner. He used the opportunity to kiss up to the old guard. My grandfather, in a fit of rage, actually did freeze my trust fund and threatened to have me removed as CEO. Mr. Pierce, the board is holding a vote on your position tomorrow, Leo reported, his face etched with worry. Mr. Caleb Pierce has already been lobbying several board members. I was busy looking at a file on a startup called Nexus Innovations. In the original story, this company developed revolutionary solid-state battery technology 3 years later and its market cap exploded. Arrange a meeting with the founder of Nexus, David Chun. This afternoon, I told Leo, tossing him a flash drive. Play the contents of this at the board meeting tomorrow. What's on the flash drive? A secret weapon. Where did he prepare this? OMG, the suspense is killing me. When I met David Chun that afternoon, I laid my cards on the table. A $50 million investment for a 20% stake. I'll provide the capital personally. Chun looked at me surprised. Mr. Pierce, we only need $20 million. The other $30 million is to buy out your other early investors, I said, sliding a list across the table. Especially a Mr. Jean. I want him out of your company completely. Mr. Jean was Caleb's proxy investor. In the original story, Caleb used him to gain control of Nexus and later weaponized its patents against Pierce Corp. He's cutting off his cousin's escape route. How does he know all this? Being reincarnated is the ultimate cheat code. This is some 4D chess right here. After signing the deal, I headed back to the office to prepare for the next day's battle. As I stepped out of the elevator, Victoria Sterling was there again, waiting. The ex-fiancé is back for round 2. In the original, this is where she forcibly kisses him. Run, Ashton, run. Ashton, we need to talk, she said, her eyes red-rimmed. I know you don't want to get married, but at least don't cancel the joint venture between our families. I walked around her and unlocked my office door. Business is about profits, not family ties. Your family's proposal is 15% above market rate. Do you think I'm an idiot? That's why she bit her lip. It was the only way to force my hand. I sneered. Go back and tell your father he can either match the market rate or get lost. Victoria's face went pale. Do you hate me that much? I don't hate you. I said honestly. I just have zero tolerance for anyone who tries to use marriage as a business transaction. A king of clarity. The original protagonist was so easily manipulated by these women. Thank God for this version. This is a real tycoon. The next day, Caleb was practically beaming at the head of the boardroom table. In light of Mr. Ashton Pierce's recent autocratic and reckless decisions, the board proposes. I cut him off. Before we discuss my position, I'd like everyone to watch a short video. Leo hit a button on the remote. The screen lit up with hidden camera footage of Caleb meeting with several of the board members present. Once I get Ashton ousted, your shares will double in value. I've already handled the old man. The room fell into dead silence. I casually placed a document on the table. On a related note, I've just personally acquired a 20% stake in Nexus Innovations. I looked at Caleb, whose face was now the color of ash. Is this the ace up your sleeve? The one you were secretly funding to eventually make Pierce Corp's core businesses obsolete? Correct. Checkmate, Caleb. The live chat went wild. This move was epic. Caleb shot to his feet. That's a bald-faced lie. Grandfather will never believe you. He doesn't have to. I smiled, putting my phone on speaker. The furious voice of my grandfather echoed through the room. Caleb, get your ass back to the estate now. The board voted unanimously to keep me as CEO. Caleb was suspended from all duties, effective immediately. Alert. In the original story, the heroine is already pregnant by this point. What? But the protagonist never touched her. It's the cousin's baby. A hidden plot point from the original. I paused in the doorway of the conference room. Well, I'll be damned. So, in the original story, the genius son wasn't even mine. This plot is even more screwed up than I thought. Leo, I said over the intercom, I want a detailed report on Chloe Martin's whereabouts for the past month. I want to know every single time she was in contact with Caleb. In the original, Caleb knew the baby was his all along. His plan was to use the kid to manipulate the protagonist. The paternity test was faked by the cousin. So, not only was I supposed to be cuckolded, but I was also going to be duped by a fake DNA test. They really played dirty. Leo rushed in. Mr. Pierce, news just broke. Chloe Martin announced on social media that she's pregnant and she's implying the child is yours. I let out a cold laugh. Let her sue. We can take her and Caleb down at the same time. Hardcore. I love it. This is how you handle a reincarnation. Total domination. Can't wait to see Caleb get canceled. That afternoon, I paid a visit to the Nexus Innovations lab. The founder, David Chun, was ecstatic as he showed me their latest breakthrough. Mr. Pierce, our new solid-state battery has an energy density that's 30% higher than anything on the market. I picked up the palm-sized battery. What about manufacturing cost? 20% lower than mainstream lithium-ion batteries, Chun said, then leaned in conspiratorially. And we have a secret project. He led me into a high-security encrypted lab. This is the real game-changer. On a table sat a strange metal device. Long-range wireless power. In the original story, this tech was stolen by the cousin. Ashton, file the patents now. Wireless charging for vehicles? I asked. Chun's eyes lit up. Exactly. Long-range wireless power transmission. File for every related patent immediately. I ordered. Upgrade security on this lab to the highest level. Have every single researcher sign a new ironclad NDA. Incredible business instincts. No way the cousin steals it now. This focus on the business storyline is so much better. As soon as I got back to the office, my grandfather called. Come to the estate for dinner tonight. It's a trap. The old man is going to plead for the cousin. Be careful, Ashton. At the family estate in Greenwich, my grandfather sat at the head of the long dining table. Caleb stood beside him, his eyes red and puffy as if he'd been crying. Ashton, the old man began using a childhood nickname he hadn't used in years. Caleb knows he was wrong. At the end of the day, you're brothers. I cut him off. When he was drugging me, he didn't seem to think of me as a brother. It was all a misunderstanding. Caleb pleaded. That woman, she seduced me. I wasn't thinking straight. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. It was a conversation between Chloe and Caleb's assistant. Chloe's voice. So, Mr. Pierce's cousin is offering me $2 million if I get pregnant and pin the child on Ashton. The assistant's voice. That's correct, Ms. Martin. My grandfather's face turned to thunder. The teacup in his hand smashed against the floor. Busted. Caleb is so finished. The patriarch hates infighting above all else. 3 days later, the board announced the permanent termination of all of Caleb's roles at the company. My trust fund was unfrozen. As an apology, my grandfather transferred 10% of his personal shares in Pierce Corp to me. Mr. Pierce, Dr. Evans from the AI Diagnostics Company is here to see you. Leo reported. Dr. Evans had good news. Mr. Pierce, our AI diagnostic system has achieved a 98.2% accuracy rate in trials, outperforming human specialists. I flipped through the report. How much capital do you need to push for full clinical trials and FDA approval? 50 million, Dr. Evans hesitated, but we've hit a snag. A certain Senator Davies is blocking our application. His office has been hinting that they expect a political donation. A corrupt politician. In the original, this guy frames the protagonist for bribery. He's one of Caleb's backers. He won't get a dime, I said, closing the file. I buzzed my assistant. Get the materials ready. I'm going to Washington. He's going straight to the top. Where'd he get those kinds of connections? This is getting intense. Using one of my grandfather's old connections, I secured a lunch meeting with a high-ranking official at the Pentagon. The official asked amiably, I hear you're making waves in medical AI. Not just AI, I said, pulling up the presentation for Nexus's wireless power technology. This technology can provide cheap, accessible electricity to remote regions and military bases. And our AI diagnostics can solve the problem of insufficient medical resources on the front lines. 2 hours later, I walked out with a special directive from the Department of Defense. It fast-tracked both projects as matters of national strategic interest. That's checkmate. Caleb was playing checkers while the protagonist is playing 5D chess with the government. The difference in scale is just insane. When I returned to Pierce Tower, Victoria Sterling was waiting for me. She handed me a file. This is a record of my father's financial dealings with Senator Davies. I raised an eyebrow. Why are you helping me? I'm not helping you, she said, her gaze firm and clear. I'm done being used as a pawn in my family's business deals. I want to learn how to do this for real. The ex-fiancée is having her own character arc. In the original, she turned into a villain. Is she an ally now? I love this new plot direction. I nodded. Be at Nexus Innovations on Monday morning. You'll start as a project manager. Her eyes lit up. Thank you, Mr. Pierce. A week later, the tabloids were filled with Chloe Martin's tearful press conferences. I had my lawyers call their own conference and present 4 pieces of evidence. Hotel security footage of her willingly entering my suite. Bank records of the payments from Caleb's assistant. Her prenatal report showing a conception date a week before the night in question. A collection of intimate photos of her and Caleb. The court of public opinion reversed its verdict instantly. She asked for the receipts and she got them. Caleb is not only a failed schemer, he's also a deadbeat baby daddy who got publicly exposed. This move was flawless. That night, my grandfather called. "Ashton," he said, his voice heavy with resignation. "Pierce Corp is yours now. All of it." I hung up and stood at the window, gazing out at the endless sea of city lights. The original plot is so far in the rear-view mirror. It's dead and buried. This is what a real male lead should be doing. Can't wait to see him on the cover of Forbes. I smiled and picked up a new investment proposal. At the Monday morning meeting, the CFO started his report. "Mr. Pierce, over the past 2 weeks, a mysterious buyer has been steadily acquiring our shares on the open market. They've accumulated 4.9%, just shy of the SEC's disclosure threshold. Here it comes. The international villain. Careful. He's going to launch a hostile takeover. Julia Morrison is about to enter the game." I tapped the table. "Find out who the buyer is and prepare to activate our poison pill defense." The executives looked at each other, confused about a poison pill. Some kind of corporate warfare tactic. He was already prepared for this. The meeting had barely ended when Leo rushed in. "Mr. Pierce, we have visitors from the Department of Defense. They say it's about a potential partnership." In the conference room, 2 men in civilian clothes were waiting. The man in the lead showed me his credentials. "Director Vance, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. We're extremely interested in your wireless power technology. The big guns are here. He's untouchable now. Let's see Caleb try to steal the tech now." I signaled for David Chun to present the technical details. Director Vance's eyes gleamed. "If this technology could be integrated into our existing hardware," he murmured to his colleague. "Be careful about espionage. In the original, this tech was stolen by a foreign power. Sign the NDA, Ashton." "A partnership is possible," I said, sliding a prepared contract across the table, "but it will be subject to the highest national security protocols." Later that day, while inspecting the Nexus lab, I saw Victoria secretly copying data onto a thumb drive. WTF? The ex-fiancé is a corporate spy. The ultimate plot twist. I knew she couldn't be trusted. I didn't confront her. Instead, I had security pull the surveillance tapes. The footage showed her staying late every night for the past week alone in the lab. "I want a mirror copy of her hard drive," I told the head of security. "She's probably sending it to Caleb or to that Morrison guy. Catch her in the act, Ashton." The next day, the Wall Street Journal ran a story about Morrison Capital opening a new office in New York. The accompanying photo showed a smiling silver-haired man cutting a ribbon. The final boss has arrived. In the original, he destroyed countless companies with financial warfare. "Watch your back, Ashton." I immediately assembled my core team. 3 things. First, transfer all core technology patents to a new subsidiary jointly held with the Department of Defense. Second, launch a full internal loyalty investigation. Third, open a line of communication with the SEC. His reaction speed is insane. By tying his interests to the government, he's making himself a much harder target. Brilliant. Morrison is about to hit a brick wall. Our surveillance showed Victoria transmitting data to an overseas IP address. "Should we block the transfer?" my head of IT asked. "No," I said with a cold smile. "Let it go through. But I want you to slip a little something extra into the data packet." "What's the extra something?" "Fake tech specs. This protagonist is diabolical. I love it." We prepared a data file that looked completely authentic, but it contained a single fatal flaw in its core schematic. A flaw that would cause any device built from it to catastrophically fail. That night, Victoria dutifully sent the file. At a financial summit that Friday, Julian Morrison approached me, champagne flute in hand. "Mr. Pierce, I've heard so much about you. Your reputation precedes you, Mr. Morrison." "I'm utterly fascinated by American ingenuity," he said, his words dripping with insinuation, especially the business opportunities. "He's testing him. Careful, he's fishing for information. Stay cool, Ashton." I smiled politely. "We welcome legitimate investment. We're less fond of technology thieves." Morrison's pupils contracted for a split second before he laughed it off. "You have a wonderful sense of humor, Mr. Pierce." 3 days later, federal agents raided a shell company disguised as a trade firm. Several foreign nationals were arrested for corporate espionage. He fell for it. Tried to steal the tech. Now he gets a jail cell. Ashton is playing on a whole other level. At the same time, Victoria was escorted into my office. Her face was white as a sheet. You knew from the first day I copied the file. I pushed a resignation letter across the desk. Sign it. Why is he letting her go? She should be going to jail with the others. Is he going soft? Victoria signed the paper with a trembling hand, then broke down in tears. My father, he owed Morrison an incredible amount of money. He forced me to do this. I looked at the signed resignation letter and smiled with satisfaction. I immediately buzzed my assistant. Leo, get the NYPD on the line. We have a corporate spy here who's ready to confess. Also, call our lawyers. I want to sue the Sterling family into the ground for damages. Victoria is stunned. Oh, I get now. By having her resign first, he avoids paying any severance. He truly is a ruthless capitalist. I'm here for it. Leo burst into the room, looking panicked. Mr. Pierce, we just got word. Morrison has teamed up with 3 investment banks to short our stock. The real war begins now. Don't you dare lose, Ashton. Do something. I watched the stock price plummet on the screen, and to everyone's surprise, I laughed. Activate the defense plan, alert our government partners. Release the news that our wireless power technology has passed all military-grade testing. It has been officially adopted by the Department of Defense. 30 minutes later, the stock chart executed a perfect V-shaped recovery. Using good news to counter the short sellers. Classic move. Morrison is going to lose his shirt. Sure enough, news broke after the market closed that Morrison Capital had suffered a single-day loss of over $200 million. Before I left for the day, Director Vance called. Mr. Pierce, the Joint Chiefs saw the tech demonstration. They'd like you to attend a special advisory meeting in Washington next week. An official endorsement from the top. It's over. He's won. The protagonist is on top of the world. Their original plot has been completely annihilated. A new legend is born. This is the corporate thriller I've always wanted to read. Watch him conquer the world. After his failed short-selling attack, Julian Morrison had the Wall Street Journal publish an explosive front-page story. Pierce Corp's core technology allegedly infringes on foreign patents. It faces a potential $100 billion lawsuit. The live chat exploded. WTF, Morrison is playing dirty. This is a patent troll attack designed to kill the company. Ashton, fight back. I just smirked, logged into the official Pierce Corp Twitter account, and posted 3 documents. Our global patent registration certificates filed a year ago. Evidence that Morrison Capital had hired hackers to breach our servers. A pretrial ruling from a federal court dismissing the lawsuit as frivolous. The caption read, "Keep trying. We'll see you in court." Within 30 minutes, the hashtag Morrison Capital fraud was the #1 trend in the world. When the market opened, Morrison Capital stock plunged 40%. The chat was gleeful. Oh man, he played himself. That counterattack was brutal and beautiful. Morrison, why did you ever pick a fight with this guy? Director Vance paid another visit, but this time he brought a top-level strategic partnership agreement. Mr. Pierce, the White House wants to prioritize your wireless power technology for the next generation of national infrastructure. I smiled slightly. Excellent. I have one condition. What is it? The new venture must be operated independently by my team. The government acts only as a silent equity partner. The chat was stunned. Is he insane making demands of the government? That takes balls of steel. Will they actually agree? Director Vance was silent for a moment, then made a phone call. 10 minutes later, he nodded. They've agreed to your terms. The chat feed turned into a waterfall of text. He's basically ascended to godhood. That move was legendary. What can Morrison even do now? It's over. Life was quiet for a while until some old ghosts reappeared for one last pathetic attempt at relevance. Caleb, unwilling to accept defeat, teamed up with Chloe. Using a forged paternity test, they filed a lawsuit demanding a portion of the family's shares on behalf of his illegitimate son. In court, I simply presented the results of my own DNA test. The child is Caleb's. The evidence is conclusive. The judge threw the case out and warned Caleb he was now under investigation for perjury and filing a fraudulent lawsuit. The media had a field day. Hashtag fake paternity scam, hashtag Chloe Martin's final scam exposed. The chat was howling at their social suicide. Caleb's life is officially over. But what about my secret baby runaway bride plotline? My grandfather was thoroughly disappointed and amended his will. He permanently removed Caleb from the family trust. Chloe showed up at Caleb's apartment with the child and was turned away at the door. She became a permanent fixture in tabloid gossip columns. Caleb was arrested at the airport trying to flee the country and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. 3 years later, I topped the Forbes list as the richest person in the country. The chat feed was a victory lap. The original protagonist just chased a girl. The new protagonist became the richest man in the world. This is the script a male lead deserves. Is it over? I'm not ready for it to end. From drugged CEO to global tycoon. What a journey. The original author is weeping. Her plot has been atomized. I chuckled. So, did you enjoy the show? Enjoy it. That was the most satisfying story I've ever read. I picked up my coffee cup. In that case, it's time for you all to go. The chat suddenly turned sentimental. No, we want to see you acquire Apple and Google. Ashton, without you, what other stories are worth reading? Please, just one more chapter, an epilogue. Let me just rewatch the hostile takeover scene one more time. Mr. Pierce, give us some life advice before you go. Ashton, we can't live without you. I set down my cup, a slight smile on my lips. Fine. A few final words for the road. A real titan doesn't force a woman into his bed. He forces his competitors to the negotiating table with data they can't refute. He acquires undervalued assets during a market crash and invests in the future before anyone else sees it coming. A real titan doesn't prove his power by cornering someone against a wall. He proves it by forcing market analysts to change their reports and making governments seek him out for partnerships. Love can betray you. Romance can fade. But your empire, your ambition, that will always be yours. Damn, that's a mic drop. I'm getting that tattooed on my brain. Hail Pierce, forever our king. The final line of text slowly scrolled by. Goodbye and thank you for being the greatest CEO we've ever known. My vision cleared. The chat feed was gone. The end.